What the fuck, a gnome?
I always notice the clown things.
Sit down, Kevin.
Hello and welcome to Pass the Hot Sauce, a Roswell podcast. I'm LaRena Rose.
I'm Aliza Ora.
And I'm producer Ashley.
Today's minisode is about a movie from 1999 called Teenage Space Vampires. The IMDb summary says, Bill, a high school student and avid horror movie fan, witnesses a UFO flying over his town. When the ship lands the next day, Bill and a team from SETI discover that the alien is a strange vampire creature who wants to cast the Earth into darkness so that he and his people can colonize it for themselves. Will Bill and the others be able to keep the sun shining?
Dun dun dun.
Ooh.
Amazon has a better one.
Oh, let's read Amazon's too then.
Okay. When geeky teen Bill Stenson witnesses a UFO landing near his small town, he discovers that it contains a horde of vampires bent on ruling Earth by blocking the sun's rays and plunging the planet into darkness. With the townspeople falling prey to the bloodsuckers, Bill must take matters into his own hands and prevent the peril from spreading further.
Ooh.
This movie was directed by Martin Wood, who also wrote it. Martin Wood is known for a recent show, I think it's a Netflix show, Virgin River, which I've watched. It's cute. Also a movie, Travelers, from 2016, and Sanctuary from 2008.
He also directed a bunch of episodes of Stargate and was also a producer on Stargate, and has a long list of Hallmark movies, including the Aurora Tea Garden Mysteries. So I've seen a bunch of his work.
So an interesting thing about this show, Sanctuary, that he made is it stars Robin Dunn, who plays Bill in this movie.
Yeah, it seems like there's a few actors and people that like have definitely worked together on a bunch of things.
Yeah.
So like, I don't know, they went to school together or just clicked on some early projects together and then worked together through a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, for sure. I've seen a few things that has like a couple actors from this.
Mm-hmm. So Robin Dunn, who plays Bill in this, the most exciting thing on his resume that I found is something called Space Milkshake. I'm intrigued. Perhaps it's another alien-centric thing that we could watch together.
I wrote that down too. The main actor was in Defiance, and also something called Space Milkshake, which should be our next minisode.
We also kind of all recognized the sister, Bill's older sister Katie, who is played by Lindy Booth. And I couldn't figure out exactly what I recognized her from, but she's in a lot of things. So she's in Grey's Anatomy, she's in The Librarians, she was in an episode of Supernatural.
She was on the famous Jet Jackson on the Disney Channel when she was younger. She also played Judy Garland's daughter on the miniseries Life with Judy Garland when she was a kid.
That's cool. She's also in like a couple episodes of the 4400, which is a sci-fi show that I love.
Ah, yeah. She seems like the one who has definitely done like the most stuff that people would be likely to recognize.
Also, Detroit Rock City, which is a great movie. She plays girl number 1.
Oh, nice.
So you know she had a major role there.
I mean, she was number 1.
Girl number 1. Yeah. Also, the boyfriend, Katie's boyfriend, who's played by Jesse Nilsson, who unfortunately passed away in 2003 due to some medical complications. But he was in The Skulls, which is a movie that I love so much. And he's also in Model Behavior, which is a TV movie from Disney, which also stars Justin Timberlake.
Ooh, young Justin Timberlake? Like pre-NSYNC, or was he already doing
No,
NSYNC?
he was already famous. He was already in sync.
Oh, okay. Got it.
Yeah, it was like him like trying to launch his acting career, which I mean, he did. He's been in a handful of things.
Got it. And the teacher in this movie, who incidentally is also like a helper to the vampire space alien, Mr. Danvers, played by a guy named Richard Clarkin, who was in a great Lifetime movie. I can only imagine it's great. I actually haven't seen it. It's called I Was LaRena Bobbitt, but I do want to look it up now because
called what?
I Was LaRena Bobbitt. It's the lifetime true story of LaRena Bobbitt.
Oh my God.
not really my namesake, but the person that I got made fun of for having the same name as in my youth. So
Sure.
So let's talk about this movie now that we've like talked about some of the stuff that all the actors have done. So this movie was actually filmed in Romania. So the actors we talked about were all Canadian actors who were obviously like the big talent booked for this film. And then everybody else in the movie, like from extras to like supporting parts, like the parents and the friends at school, they're all Romanian.
If you're paying attention, like, they have accents.
Yeah, and some of them have very clear accents, and some of them, like, sound pretty generically Canadian and or American, and I didn't realize until I started going through the IMDb that so much of the cast was Romanian, and then I was like, where was this movie filmed? Was this just, like, a bunch of friends who were all Romanian immigrants in Canada? And then I was like, no, it was actually filmed in Romania. Okay, that makes more sense.
Yeah, it does make more sense. So what did you guys think about this movie overall?
Okay, so what kept running through my mind while I watched this movie, I watched a lot of Nailed It with Nicole Byer because I love Nicole Byer so much.
I saw her live one.
Really?
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Oh,
I like this small comedy club in Providence.
Nice.
Oh, love her. But so in the words of Nicole Byer, this is wild. I liked it.
Yep, that was good.
Yeah, so this movie was weird and wonderful, and I was amused.
Yeah, it was enjoyable.
Yeah, I mean, it's made in 1998, so like the CGI, the effects were not that great.
Yeah.
But I think the storyline and the plot, like, it was very interesting.
Yeah.
I like the concept.
Yeah, not bad.
I would like to know more about how space vampires are a thing. Like, what's the origin of the vampires in space? Like, I just really would like to hear more backstory.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, this movie was definitely lacking in some backstory. It was only like an hour and 22 minutes long.
Yeah.
So,
Short.
you know, with some higher quality acting and like some more backstory, I think it could have been like a real contender for like campy horror movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally. The only problem that we all noticed that I really think is not the movie's fault, and I think has something to do with like when it switched formats, because obviously it was like on VHS initially, and yeah, when it switched formats and went to streaming and switched platforms, I don't know, that's what I'm guessing, but the sound in this movie is horrible. So LaRena and Ashley watched it on Tubi, and LaRena checked it out on YouTube. I watched it on Amazon. No matter where you watched it, it's kind of the sound effects and the music are loud and the dialogue is hard to hear.
Yeah, so definitely turn on the captions if you want to watch this movie. You will definitely need it to catch a lot of what's being said. And some of it, even with the captions on, there's like parts where they're obviously talking and there's just no captions. Like even the caption person can't figure it out.
Yeah, I noticed that.
Yeah, the scene where they're in the mines and they whisper and it's like it gives me half a sentence and then it just says whispering.
Right. But you know that like you can tell that his whispers are clear enough that they're supposed to be understood.
Right.
Yeah. So there are ways to watch this movie for free if you want to watch it and listen to this episode with us. So we hope you'll watch this like campy nutso movie.
It is fun.
And yeah, it was fun.
It's a fun movie. Like I do recommend watching it.
Yeah.
Just as like a fun campy 90s movie.
Yes.
And I didn't notice like anything really like problematic to point out.
Yeah.
I was like, they did a really good job of not being like misogynistic with the girl on the team and like I don't know,
racist because everyone was white. So race just wasn't in it.
True.
Yeah, which I guess,
It's
I mean, now that we know it was filmed in Romania, which is probably a mostly white country, I'm assuming there's not a lot of people of other colors who have emigrated to Romania. I mean, it could be wrong.
I mean, I'm sure there are, but it may not be, a big percentage of the population.
Yeah. So especially once I knew that, then race just like isn't really existent in it.
Yeah.
Because they're all Eastern European.
Yep. So the movie starts and I don't know why, but there's this guy walking his dog very slowly.
Yes.
And the dog seemed annoyed to be walking that slowly. And I don't know why that had to be in the movie at all.
feel like we're just setting up the creep factor.
And, like, showing that it's, like, a neighborhood.
Also, the dog was, like, whiny and, like, crying, and then all the other dogs start barking. And so I think it's to set the scene that the animals can tell something's off.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
All of the dog barking in this movie was very problematic for Margot.
Oh, no. Sorry, Margot.
She was very distressed about all of the other dogs inside of our apartment all of a sudden.
No.
I don't know about you guys, but, like, when he looked out his window and saw the UFO, like, I couldn't really see anything. It was just, like, lights and, like, I didn't really see much.
Yeah, I could see, like, the guy or the person, alien, moving around inside.
Oh, I didn't
like,
see that.
You never see it clear enough to get, like, like, there's no way to know if it was, like, one of the, like, alien-looking ones in there, or if it was one of the hybrids.
Right, that looks like a human.
Right.
Because most of them, like, look like humans for a while, and then it's once we go into the mines that we see their alien form.
Yeah.
Just their faces.
Right.
They start to turn into the alien hybrids, which, like...
It's bizarre.
Yeah.
So also, the UFO landed in his neighborhood, just, like, on some grass.
Yeah,
just right there.
Just no big deal.
With gargoyles.
And then just stayed there.
Yeah.
They didn't try to hide it at all.
Not at all.
Yeah. Just, like, out in plain sight in the neighborhood on the lawn with all of the lawn ornaments, with the gnomes and the gargoyles.
But it seemed like Bill was the only one that was like, this is weird. What is this about?
Yeah. Well, I feel like everybody on that street got taken over by the alien beings very quickly, so...
Probably every time that they asked questions about the ship. What is that? When did that get here in our neighborhood? Oh, that's going to be a problem. Bite them.
Right.
Yeah. And I think it's on, more or less, on the teacher, Mr. Danvers' lawn. It seems to be closest to his house.
Oh.
They make the mention that he has all of the lawn ornament, that he's a cool teacher, except he has all these weird lawn ornaments. And then there's, like, the gargoyles in front of the
the gargoyles.
spaceship, so...
That, like, turn their heads and just look so fake when they do.
The security gargoyles outside of the spaceship, so that Vlathos can see what's going on above ground, since he can't go out in the sunlight.
Right, because I was going to say, like, it did seem like the gargoyles were, like, nanny cams.
Yeah.
Yeah, they definitely were, because then you can see him looking at the stone.
Looking at his hand thing. Yeah, what was that? It looked like either a shell or, like, a slice of a geode.
I think it was a slice of a geode.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it's a security camera with gargoyles and geodes.
Yeah.
Don't you have one of those, Aliza?
Oh, mine actually broke. I need to get a new one.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
So what about these twins, huh? They're like bullies. Their names are Randy and Andy.
Yeah.
Which is like stupid. So they bully Bill and his friend Kevin.
After overhearing something about the UFO, and they throw mashed potatoes at them, UFPs, unidentified flying potatoes.
Oh, yep. They did say that.
Which I thought was hilarious.
I also love how quickly they get under the table so fast.
Yeah.
Like, oh my god, a food fight is starting, get down! And then it's just them.
Yeah, just the bullies with potatoes. And then I was, like, pleased to see that the history teacher, Mr. Danvers, was using the, like, Roswell technique of, like, let's give backstory and, like, context to this movie, like, through our classroom lecture, which is, you know, as we know, a very popular trope in the Roswell universe.
Totally.
Yeah.
It really is.
So we learn about these mines that collapsed, and there was this big giant diamond that was found in the mine, and then it, like, went missing and was never found again, and, like, the mine is haunted by all the ghosts of the dead miners.
And, yeah, because there were 12 miners that were trapped when the mines collapsed. Also, if I may say something about this quote-unquote diamond, absolutely not. There are no diamonds that big. There aren't.
Only because this one went missing, and so you've never seen it.
Nope.
Okay, so when he's like, they're sitting at the table and he's trying to get Kevin to agree to go check out the spaceship with him with the camera.
In the cafeteria?
Yes. And he says that he could get kicked out of every high school in the U.S. for borrowing one camera.
Yeah, for borrowing a camera from the school. I mean, maybe he's just a goody two-shoes and is, like,
Yeah.
very worried about breaking the rules and that any breaking of the rules is going to cause full expellment.
That's what I thought too, but then when they cut to the classroom and we're getting the backstory, he seems to be like, I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
Because he's like leaned back, he's like half paying attention, he's giving attitude, like, so I thought, well, then he's not that kid who's like following the rules and like getting straight A's, like what? And also, like, how would taking one camera from one school get you expelled from every school in the nation?
It's not how it works.
Everything is life or death when you're a teenager.
I guess
don't
it's
know.
fair.
So after school, Kevin is like not very concerned anymore all of a sudden. He's decided that his potential Pulitzer Prize for breaking the story about alien life forms is more important than getting expelled from school. They've taken the camera. They like go to the weird, creepy neighborhood. There's like randomly a child wearing a clown nose staring into space. I always notice the clown things.
I was going to say, like, of course you noticed the clown nose. I didn't.
It's like right at the beginning of the scene, like the kid is just like staring like he's paralyzed, but he's wearing a clown nose.
Weird.
So he's obviously already been like attacked by the vampires and he's now in some sort of a trance.
Yeah.
But they go to check out the stuff.
The, like, spaceship thing.
Yeah, the creepy old lady shows up and she's like, I don't want to see you unless you're delivering my paper. Now get out of here. Don't be late.
Mrs. Gibson with her giant green earrings.
Yeah. I love her glasses, though. Her glasses are amazing.
Yeah,
those are great glasses.
So it cuts back to them having breakfast with their parents. And Katie's like, did you hear about the UFO he saw this morning? And the mom is like, you can't make that stuff up. Not at your age. Like, what does that mean?
He can write sci-fi as a high schooler if he wants to.
Yeah.
And then it goes to, that was a very short scene, I think, just to show that the parents are aware that
he's being weird and making up stories about UFOs.
And, like, the parents are not very sympathetic to the fact that he's being bullied.
Yeah.
And, like, being bullied by his sister and being bullied by his sister's friends. Like... And his parents are just like, oh, whatever. Like,
they're like bullying him too.
Yeah, don't call him a dweeb, Katie.
Right, yeah. So then it goes to, we get this shot where it cuts to the newspaper and it's the neighborhood watch guy reading the newspaper. And I paused it to try to see if there were any funny headlines snuck in. There were not.
Oh.
There was just one that said, school board to reconsider on teacher hiring. And I'm thinking it's probably because they need to not hire space vampires.
Yeah.
So they had to have a board meeting to reconsider their hiring process. And then we meet Seti.
Yeah.
Right, so Bill goes to check out the spaceship weird thing.
Yeah.
And when he tries to touch it, it, like, kind of, like, shocks him. It, like, pushes him back, and there's this green light. And then these three people from SETI come. Did they ever tell us what SETI stands for? I came up with ideas on my own.
What are your ideas?
I was thinking Special Extraterrestrial Investigation, or Investigators.
Oh. SETI Institute is a real thing.
Oh, really?
Oh.
Yeah. I'm on their website now. SETI Institute. Are we alone in the universe? Are there advanced civilizations we can detect? And what would be the social impact if we do? How can we better the odds of making contact? These questions are both fundamental and universal.
I like your SETI voice.
Thanks.
Yeah, on the website too, and it just says, where will you be when we find life beyond Earth?
Ooh.
But I still don't know what SETI stands for.
I'm trying to see now.
I'm just Googling what does SETI stand for. Search for Extraterrestrial Intelligence.
There we go.
I like their little logo. Is that their real logo with the little alien eyes, SETI?
No, I don't think so. I mean, it could have been in 1998, but I bet not.
And I love after when he's like, take Bill here back to the van. This is potentially dangerous. We need to try to set it off again. And then you can see him, like, it cuts back to him really quickly. And he, like, reaches out like he's gonna touch it. And then he's like, ooh, I can't touch it.
Oh, I can't do it. I can't do it.
Who, Hank?
Yeah, is that I didn't write down anybody's name.
So the three SETI people are Hank, Mike, and Paula.
Yeah.
Yes, so
And
Hank
Hank is the one we get to know best because Mike and Paula disappear because they are bitten by space vampires and turned into space vampires.
Yeah. I do love, though, how Billy handles, like, they're all trying to figure out how to touch it, what to do, and he just picks up a lawn gnome and just, like, chucks it at the spaceship.
Yep.
Do we think anybody was inside and just like, what the fuck, a gnome?
Right, because it went inside.
It went in and
Maybe.
it didn't come back out, so it's in there
Yeah.
somewhere. There's a gnome
Maybe.
in that ship now.
They're like, shit, how did that,
Like, what
and
the
it,
hell?
hits them in the face.
Then he's like, get out there and bite these people.
I also forgot to mention in the beginning, like, how beautifully 90s the music is in this show.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like, at the beginning, it's like, bow, baka, baka, bow. I can't do it, but let's play a clip from it.
It's very like season 1 of Buffy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Transition-y type music.
Yeah, it's just
Yeah.
like, it just feels very 90s.
Instrumental 90s rock. I would listen to the soundtrack for this.
Yeah.
A good background steady noise.
So we get to see the eyes and the teeth here.
Oh, yeah,
yes.
this is the first time we see, like, an alien face, right? Because one of them
Yeah.
comes up behind Mike,
Mm-hmm.
like, taps him on the shoulder, and then he turns around.
Yeah.
And it's Mrs. Gibson, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
With her, like, alien vampire face.
Yeah.
So, like, other than the fact that they can't go in the sunlight, they don't really seem like vampires to me. They seem like aliens. Like, their teeth aren't like, canines as fangs. It's like they just have a whole mouth of sharp fangs.
But they do, at the end, some of them do have the teeth. I noticed.
Just the bigger canines?
Yeah. Well, with the others, they, like, CGI'd them in. But, like, at the soccer game, when the soccer team is, like, going nutso, you can see, like, when they look up, they have longer fangs. And I'm like, when did they morph? Because, and even later, after that, we see a couple of teeth. Like Kevin. Kevin doesn't have those teeth when he turns around.
No, they were
and
just
looks at the
all
mom.
pointy and equal,
Right,
length.
yeah. And so
Yeah.
I don't know at what point it evolves from, like, your starter teeth into your...
Right.
Into your full vampire
It's
teeth.
like humans, your baby teeth, and then they have to fall out,
Yeah.
and then you get your, like, normal vampire, fangs.
Exactly.
Of course.
And I love that it hovers.
Yeah.
Yeah, that the spaceship is floating.
Yeah, so that's cool.
There's the one little scene here where we are at school and Billy is filling Kevin in on the SETI team and saying that they're going to go later to the station. And the twins come up and start bullying him and throws him over the bushes and all that stuff. And that's when we find out that the teacher is controlling them, like, more so than they really let on in the other scene where they were in the attic, because he just walks up and they instantly freeze and look at him,
Yeah.
and he's like, you know better than that. And then they all walk away together. Super weird.
Yeah.
No one questions it.
Yeah, no one questions it at all. I mean, the sister has, like, kind of started to realize that something
Yeah.
is off with the twins, because later she, like, tells her boyfriend, like, please don't, like, start acting like them. And
Yeah.
the boyfriend is like, what's wrong with them? They're just, like, being themselves. They're just excited about the game, whatever. And she was like, no, they're, like, douchebags. Like, please don't turn into them.
Yeah. And, like, this is also the first scene where I noticed that they had the sides of their head dyed different colors.
Yes. Yeah, I didn't notice that in any other part.
I don't think I ever noticed that.
One of them was neon green and one of them was purple, and I was
Yeah.
like, this must be their way of, like, so you can tell them apart? Like, one of them is the green twin and one of them is the purple twin?
Yes, and that's the only scene I noticed that
Yeah.
in, too.
Yeah. And then we go to the station, and the neighborhood watch guy is, like, threatening Hank and, like, almost bites him.
Oh, yeah. Like, fangs out, like, leaning in.
Yeah, and then the kids walk in, and he just was... I don't know what he was thinking in this moment to be like, I'll just act really creepy and leave.
Yeah.
Instead of just killing them all, because I highly doubt that 2 teenagers would have been able to pull him off of Hank. Like, just kill Hank and then kill the 2 teens, and then you don't have a problem anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, now you have 3 new minions, and yeah.
But do we know that, like, these space vampires are stronger and faster than humans? Because maybe he wouldn't be able to take 3 of them on.
Maybe. I guess we don't know. It just seems a little risky to be like, oh, now he, like, for sure knows that I'm a vampire.
Yeah, I mean, he outed himself.
And then also, like, Billy never lets on until a scene later that he even knows. Like, when I watched it the first time, I thought, oh, I must have missed a scene because now he's talking about vampires, so he's noticed that there were vampires. But then when I watched it again, the same thing happened, so I rewound it. And the only thing I can think of is when the neighborhood watch guy, like, walks by him, he must have seen the bites on his neck and put 2 and 2 together.
Mm-hmm.
Because later, when Kevin's outside the window and he goes outside to talk to him, he's like, what do you know about vampires? And that's how they let us know that he knows.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we definitely could use a little more, like, backstory and setup going on in this. But yeah, it kind of, like, jumps to conclusions very quickly. But I mean, you can only get so much done in an hour and 22 minutes.
Yeah.
So.
And with whatever budget they had.
Yeah.
So now we're back at the Stenson house. So more time with the parents. It's all kind of awkward. So Katie's boyfriend Jesse comes to pick her up. She, like, makes her dad answer the door because she doesn't want Jesse to see her in, like, the clothes she's wearing. So she runs upstairs to change. And this scene between Jesse and their parents is just so awkward.
It really is.
I couldn't exactly figure out why.
It's so weird. Like, Jesse says hi to Bill, and the parents are like, oh, you 2 know each other? It's like, yeah, they all go to the same school. You just had a whole conversation about how Katie's friends are bullying your son. Of course they know each other.
Yeah, and also can I just say that the pants that she had on when she went upstairs to change, I love them. I love them so much.
They are very late 90s.
Yes, I put in my notes in all caps, I am living for these pants. They're like high-waisted, like flare, but they're not. They're like the just very baggy, long.
Super wide leg, like not sweats, but like, a linen or some sort of like loungewear.
Yeah, yes. And they tie-dye on their way down, and like, there's. And then she says, I can't let him see me in these rags. And I was like, rags? Young lady, those pants are fantastic.
Yeah.
And with her cute little crop top, like, she looks adorable.
Yeah.
So cute. Also, like, he's her boyfriend. Right? It's not like a first date with a guy who you don't know well. Like, ooh, I can't let him see me in this. Like, your boyfriend should be able to see you in your, like, loungewear.
Right.
Yeah. But I guess high school, you know?
That's true. That's so true. This was the scene that I realized, oh, I know who he reminds me of. He reminds me of Ben from Buffy with that fucking 90s McDonald hair.
Oh, yeah. The perfectly parted in the middle.
Yes.
Like...
When I first saw him on the screen, that's who I thought it was at first. I was like,
you did? Yeah.
Is that Ben? It was not, but
it was not.
I totally thought so at first.
And they also give her a 12:30 curfew. Like, you have to be back at 12:30. Is that late, or was I just very sheltered?
That, you were sheltered. And it's late.
But, like, here the parents are, like, kind of an asshole to Bill again, because, like, the dad is just like, Katie went out with her boyfriend, you've got dish duty.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like, well, if that's her chore, like, shouldn't you have made her do that?
Yeah, before she left.
And also, he's already actively doing the dishes when you've told him that he has dish duty.
Yeah,
like, he's already
true.
doing them. You don't need to be mean about it.
But they don't say anything to him when he grabs his little pullover and says, I'll be back in a minute, and then leaves for the rest of the night.
And then doesn't come back. Yeah.
Like, doesn't come home until after Katie is home and asleep and in bed.
Right.
Although it seems like Katie left that party early. That quote-unquote party.
She did.
So they're at this pregame party, like literally pregame, which every pregame I went to had nothing to do with a sports game. And yeah, in my opinion, this is not a party. This is like a bonfire.
Yeah,
mm-hmm.
This is not a party.
But it's like 10 people sitting around.
Yeah, burning a dummy wearing the other school's
I
uniform.
know, which like totally freaked Kevin out.
Yeah. Yeah, Kevin thinks they're burning a real body.
Kevin was sure it was a real person. So also, like, they look and they see it, and at some point Kevin leaves, right? Because Bill's like, I'm gonna go to the mines or something.
And Kevin's like, I'll just stay here.
Oh, right. Kevin says, I'll stay here, and Bill leaves. And then a second later, Kevin's standing there, and he's like, Bill? Billy? And it's like, he left. You chose to stay here. Why are you calling for him?
Now he's freaked out. He's regretting his decision.
He left.
It's dark. He's alone. It's creepy. Now he's worried.
It is creepy. It's dark and creepy.
And he does get bit by a space vampire.
So this is when we first see the mine, right? Because Bill goes into the mine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And Hank is there. He runs into Hank.
Yeah. So they go down into the mine together. They find Master Vlathos, the alien vampire, and these aliens are wild.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There's lots of like grunting and cheering and weird noises that are all way too loud because the sound quality is messed up.
Right, because the noises are so loud in this movie.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And they're being so loud when they're spying on them. They're just like talking at normal, like at first. So they're like talking, just talking about what they're seeing very loudly. And then like 2 or 3 cuts away from them when we see them again, that's when they start to whisper. They're like, oh, this is real. We need to probably be quiet.
Yeah.
They're going to kill us. Like, also, and these are alien vampires. Like, do they not have heightened hearing? Could they not, like, definitely hear these
Maybe
people?
not.
They're too distracted by their giant diamonds.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they have like a few diamonds, right? It looks like they have like that one big one, which is like the one that the teacher was talking about, I think.
Yeah.
And then a few smaller ones.
Yeah, and like the 3 diamonds together make the Trinity of Darkness that are gonna like harness the power of the sun and like make the world go dark
and
forever.
The moon.
Oh yes, and the moon, because the moon has its own independent light source.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And he says, I don't even remember how he started it, but he was talking about when the humans found it, and he was like, they had no idea of the awesome power they had on the earth. And I was like, what a... like, I was expecting him to go on, like, the, like, evil, eloquent tangent about, like, this beautiful, magnificent, but it's just it's an awesome power
just
that they
awesome
had.
Power.
Yeah.
Great writing.
I did like, though, that, like, Vlathos is going to call his people from the stars. He's going to call his people from the stars to Earth to rule.
To take over, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like his cloak, too.
Yeah. Oh, his cloak, like, when we first see Vlathos, like, it's giving me some major, like, E.T. in his red hoodie vibes.
Oh, yeah.
Like...
Also, I wrote here in my notes, and I'm not sure. I wrote, Kevin is scared. Let him be. Go the fuck home, Kevin, and look where you're going. Oh, also, how awesome was it when Hank shows Bill this rune or whatever that he has at the necklace,
like,
and he says, my dad got this in Roswell, New Mexico.
Roswell! Whoop whoop! So, yeah, Hank says something about, like, needing scientific proof, and Bill is like, you're an alien hunter, bro. Like, what scientific proof do you have? Like, and then... yeah, Hank is like, I got this piece of space metal. My dad was at the original Roswell. He was cleaning up the crash site, and he saved this space metal. There's my scientific proof.
Conveniently, it looks exactly like a vampire stake.
Yes, that's exactly what I was going to say.
For sure. It just looks not wooden. That's
right,
the only
it's
thing.
clearly metal, and it's got some etchings on it.
Yeah, fancy space metal. And, like, the vampires have now, like, gotten out to the bonfire, and they have attacked all of the high school students.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, they're all going to be infected now.
And Bill knew his sister was at that party, but
Yeah.
it turns out she had left early.
Yes, yeah, she left early. Her friend is technically grounded and has to go home.
Mm-hmm.
And so she leaves early. So she's spared for now.
Yeah.
Bill gets home safe, sees that she's already there asleep. It's fine.
She has no bites.
Yeah, all hell is gonna break loose at that big game tomorrow, though, I bet.
Yep. Yeah, but before the game, we did kind of get a little bit of an explanation for the sun thing. The reason that, like, all of the people that have been turned can go into the sun, but Vlathos can't. and I guess they're like not fully vampires. And then I wrote, okay, he didn't actually explain it well, but it was addressed that like he can't go in the sun, but they can. Because I was thinking, I was like, wait, but we've seen them in the sun.
Yeah, they're like not full vampires yet until the actual alien takeover happens, at which point then they will just be slaves. Like Vlathos even tells them, like, you'll be servants for my alien race. Like,
and they're like,
yeah! Yay! You've enslaved us! Hooray!
I've always wanted to be a servant.
Yeah!
Also, I'm confused on the timeline here because it seems like in the middle, like it seems like all the players have been turned, right?
Yeah.
All of the players on their
at a certain
team
point,
were turned. But in this huddle, the only ones with teeth, with the little vampire teeth, are the twins still. They're the only ones that you can see.
There's one other guy that's not one of the twins who just has this weird kind of O shape with his mouth. Like, I think it's because he has weird teeth in. We maybe can't see them at the angle. But there's definitely at least one other one who, like, can't seem to figure out what the fuck to do with his mouth. So I think it's because he has weird dentures in.
Yeah. Gotcha. I wrote down it's when it's when Katie comes up at the end of this scene whenever he's like, bring the girl, the brother is giving us trouble. Yeah. And she comes up and she says, like, what'd the little dweeb do now with her teeth in? Yes. And I'm like, how many times do you think they had to do these takes to get through it without laughing, like because trying to say the serious?
What did the little dweeb do now? Like, it's so hard to talk with those things in.
They're huge.
And how many times do they have to do it just for them to get it clear enough?
What did the little dweeb do now? I'm like trying to put something in my mouth to imitate.
And later when they're down in the mines and she's like, Billy, you've always wanted something like this to be true. And she says it super seriously. And I was like, there's no way she did that in one take.
Oh, you know what this movie is reminding me of? What is the movie that Moira goes to film on
The Crows.
Creek? The Crows. The Crows have eyes 5 or whatever.
Something. Yeah, yes. Oh my god, yes. So also there's like, they talk about this like science stuff. It's like what, Hank and Bill in the lab or whatever.
Yeah. And they're like building the like way that they're going to harness the power of the sun.
Right, because they're talking about how there's an eclipse.
Yes.
And there has been every 20 years. So like it is now time for this eclipse.
Yeah. And that's how they're going to manage to like break this cycle and like rescue everybody from the space vampires, is they're going to like do something with the sun.
Something with a lot of foil.
Yes, yeah. They use a whole lot of tin foil, a couple of car batteries, and a garage door opener to like create the science that is going to save
plywood.
And some plywood.
To save the science that will save the world from being cast into permanent darkness and like us all being slaves to a vampire alien race.
They also use pulleys.
Yes,
they have pulleys for
that's
something.
True. That's true.
And the pulleys are going to get pulled along by the garage door opener, I think. So they can get all of the things moved into place with like the press of a button on the garage door opener. Then it's going to like trigger all of these things to happen, like a game of Mousetrap.
Oh my god, Mousetrap. It always took forever to set up, though.
Yes. Yeah. Oh my god, it takes so long to set up.
Where were all of the space vampires when they were putting this booby trap in?
When they're in the mines building
they're
that
sleeping.
thing?
Aren't they sleeping?
But they're like using drills.
I know.
Yeah.
They're in a different part of the mine, I guess.
Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah, they're definitely not being very quiet. That's for sure.
No. They're very tired from creating more space vampires during the night that now they have to sleep. They have to take a nap.
And then we go back to the game. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
And all hell has broken loose.
Yeah.
Also, the vampire eyes. Oh my god. They crack me up so much.
Yes.
They're just like so cartoony.
Yes.
You know, when their eyes like flicker and like whatever. It's so funny. And then I think this was my favorite part of the movie. Kevin is a alien vampire, and it's oh no, he's changed. So
he eats his popcorn bag for one.
What?
He just like his popcorn bag, his little cone. He doesn't just eat the popcorn, he eats the paper. He just shoves
I didn't even catch that.
Yeah.
Oh my god. But when all the hell's breaking loose and like the Stensons, like the parents are sitting right behind him, and he turns around and is like rah with his fangs thing, and the mom is just like sit down, Kevin. And he does. He's just like, okay.
Oh, man.
Poor Kevin.
Yeah, that was a great moment.
We did miss one thing that I wanted to talk about in the mine when Paula comes out.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Vampire Paula.
Yes, and like, she's been gone. I was just like, you're an absolute idiot for thinking that she has not been bit.
Yeah.
And she's just hanging out in the mines.
Right, yeah. And I mean, obviously Billy was immediately like, as soon as they walk up, he was like, wait a minute, and like pulled her hair to the side.
And looked at her neck, yeah.
But when they were fighting with her, this was one of my favorite parts, Lisa. Hank, she like knocks him down or something, and he stands up and he says, Paula! And he takes his hat off and throws it on the ground, and he said, that hurt! And then he and then he runs around the corner. I was like, he's really upset at her right now.
Yeah. He trusted her.
Yeah.
Yes.
They're friends.
Oh, and that was also when, what's the like king alien's name?
Vlathos.
He comes out and Billy pulls out that knife that he was given at the very beginning of the movie, the very little teeny tiny
Swiss Army knife, yeah.
And he stabs him with it and he pulls it out and says, Swiss, good steel for carving apples, and like throws it, breaks it.
Yes. There are some great, ridiculous lines in this.
Yes.
Also, I thought it was funny when they first see Mr. Danvers in the caves, in the mines, and he is using a torch to light his way, like fire. And it's like, this is 1999. Like, get a flashlight.
You can totes just use a flashlight. It's all good.
Also, is fire not a hazard to you and your kind?
Yeah.
I would think. I mean, vampires normally are super flammable.
Maybe not space vampires.
Right. That's the thing, is like, these vampires are different. We don't really know if they follow the same rules. I don't think so.
And they stake him with the Roswell stake.
Yeah, with the Roswell medal.
Seems to hurt him quite a bit.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And then they, like, get all of their, like, magical tinfoil moved into place and, like, harness the power of the sun for their own source instead of for the diamonds.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a little unclear about all of this, but...
Yeah, I don't fully understand the plan.
But it was empirical.
But then they managed to get the diamonds. Vlathos is defeated.
But it takes him forever. I wrote, how long does it take this guy to die? Because they stab him and then he goes on that huge rant still for a long time. He's like, and he's like, you're all fools. This is not gonna work. And then he says everything that they need to know to stop him and then calls them dense.
Yeah.
I can't believe how dense the human race is. Here's our entire plan.
Yeah, and then he dies, and all of the humans turn back into humans because they weren't fully space vampires yet. They were just in flux, I guess. And the eclipse ends, and the world is right again.
He takes the diamond and throws it on the mine floor, and it smashes into pieces. Which probably would not happen with a diamond. Most likely, it would just damage whatever you're throwing it at.
That's very true.
But I looked it up, and like, while diamonds are like very hard, they're not very strong. And there's like a difference in terms of physics. There's a difference between hard and strong. So like, it can be possible if you hit it at the right space, in the right way, to
that makes sense,
to break a diamond with like a hammer.
Ooh.
Because the hammer is stronger than the diamond. But sometimes you'll hit it with the hammer and it'll just damage whatever the diamond is sitting on, because it just pushes the diamond into it.
Interesting.
Because generally, like, when people cut diamonds for, rings and stuff, like, they use other diamond to cut diamond because nothing else is strong enough, or hard enough, rather.
Interesting.
I did not know that.
It's like, it's the hardest, which is why I think it's often used for engagement rings, because those are rings that you typically wear every day.
Interesting. I didn't know this. Now diamond engagement rings make more sense to me because, yes, you are going to wear it every day, so you want it to be strong.
That's why people bite them, right? To see if they're real.
Arr.
Yeah. People do it with pearls, too. Let's also, draw some attention to the fact that many diamonds are mined extremely unethically. So if you are going to get a diamond, make sure
that it comes from an ethical source.
If you don't know what we're talking about, watch the movie Blood Diamond.
Ooh, I haven't seen that movie, but I do know that there is a lot of unethical practices around diamond mining.
Yeah.
Which is a big reason I'm not super interested in owning diamonds.
Yeah, and I was going to say, like, for an engagement ring, there are other gems that are hard
Mm-hmm.
enough to wear every day. You definitely don't need a diamond, and I probably wouldn't want one.
Yeah, I think there's so many other things that are more, like, interesting and beautiful looking than a typical diamond ring. Like, I love estate jewelry, like things that are one of a kind and interesting and vintage and...
Yeah, same.
So when he shatters it, the sunlight is released, that it's already absorbed, and that's how it kills Lathos.
Got it. That makes sense.
And then they all run outside to watch the rest of the eclipse and just hold their breath and wait.
And make sure that the sun comes back like it's supposed to after an eclipse. And we're not cast into eternal...
Is it a lunar eclipse, though? Or is this a solar eclipse? Right? It was the moon that they were looking at.
Yes, it's a lunar eclipse.
Because, like, you can't look at a solar eclipse.
No.
Yeah. Also, when did it get dark? Because the soccer game was happening in full daylight.
That's true.
Oh, fair.
Was it? Or was it just, like, bright lights?
Well, I'm assuming that it would have been at like 5 p.m.
Sure, so it got dark right after that.
That's true. I can buy that.
Because it's probably like a Friday night game. The big Friday or Saturday night game. Also, I have a question. After the eclipse is over and everybody's celebrating and the teacher walks by, gives them this really evil look and walks away and no one says anything. And I was like, you're just going to let him go? Because, like, do we think that is he not a space vampire anymore? Because it seems like he had been one for a long time, like, since his plane crash.
Right, it seems like he was involved, like, before
for 20
they,
years
like,
in trying to bring this to reality.
Right, so would this have even changed him back in any way? Or, like, you don't have any questions for this guy? Like, you're just going to let him go?
Apparently. Just gonna move to another town and try and make it happen again.
Do it all over again, yeah.
I mean, surely Vlathos has, like, cousins and other space vampires who will just try again in 20 years on the next eclipse.
Yeah.
That's a story for another day.
I also wondered by the ending shot, it like goes up to the moon and then it's just like this ominous music, and I was wondering if they set it up for like a sequel that just never happened.
Oh, I'm sure. You gotta leave things open-ended for a sequel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because what if this is like the camp hit of 1999 and
right.
people want more? You know, what if it's Sharknado?
Right.
You know?
You never know.
True, yeah. So I guess maybe that could contribute to why they were like, okay, we'll just let him go and then he'll play a key role in the sequel?
Yeah. I mean, we're due for the sequel. It's been 20 years.
Right, yeah.
Time for the next eclipse.
Yeah.
Although that would have been a couple years ago.
Yeah, we missed it. Yeah, 2 years ago. But that's when it got released to streaming, was like 20 years later.
I would watch a remake of this, I think, with like up-to-date CGI and like...
Oh, totally.
Oh,
yeah.
absolutely.
They could do a good job with this kind of with this plot.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of potential in this plot. It's a fun, weird idea.
Yeah, but it could have been executed better, but
I mean, I'm sure they did what they could with the budget they had.
Yeah.
And the reason they filmed in Romania may have been budget related.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
So what rating would you give this movie out of 5? I think for me it's like a solid 3.
Same.
Yeah, I was gonna say 3.
Because the camp and fun of it makes up for like the bad acting and the low budgetness of it, because the premise of it was so fun.
Everything bad that I have to say about it is something that was probably out of their control. So I'm giving it a 3 because I think it has great potential. It could have been a 4 with a little better acting.
Yeah.
So
better writing, perhaps.
Yeah, maybe writing.
It wasn't highly sexist. It wasn't highly patriarchal.
Yeah, it didn't really have issues like that.
The only mean shit was like standard high school bullying.
Like dweeb. Which, isn't even a very strong word, you know?
Yeah. Some flying potatoes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, like, they didn't even, like, punch them. Like, there was no beating up. It was just, like, throwing potatoes at his plate.
Yeah, or, like, tossing him over those bushes was, like, the most violent.
That's true.
Until the end, and then there was a lot of violence, but...
Yes, but it was not, like, gory violence, too, I'm not a big fan of gory violence. I'd rather have like camp and
Yeah. But my point is that like the bullying wasn't all that violent except for that one scene where they pushed him.
Right.
Yeah.
And his sister and Jesse were sweet during that scene, being like, "Are you okay?"
Yeah. Yeah, Jesse consistently stood up for him, which was nice too. He wasn't just being across the board bullied.
Yeah.
Like, there was a popular kid in the mix trying to be like, "Hey, yo, don't do that."
Right, but the twins don't give a shit.
Yeah,
right.
No, because they're space vampires. All right, cool, we did it. Thanks for joining us on this wild ride, listeners. I hope that you watch this movie.
And let us know. You know, if you watched this movie, let us know what you think of it. What do you rate it out of 5?
Yeah.
We would love to know. You can tweet at us, message us on Instagram, or email us at roswellhotsauce@gmail.com.
Yeah, what was your favorite part of the movie? And also, how do you feel about the design of these vampire aliens?
Yes, tell us what you think. Thanks for joining us for this unexpected mini-sode about teenage space vampires, y'all. And we'll be back in 2 weeks for real this time with To Serve and Protect.
And we're excited to get back into the show.
Till next time, beware of the lightning storms.
Are we alone in the universe? Are there advanced civilizations we can detect? And what would be the social impact if we do? How can we better the odds of making contact? These questions are both fundamental and universal.
Where will you be when we find life beyond Earth?